Australia's top diplomat in Beijing has conceded the politically sensitive issues that have stalled long-running free trade talks with China are proving difficult to resolve. Despite 18 rounds of negotiations since free trade talks between the two countries began in 2005, Francis Adamson, Australia's ambassador to China, indicated there were demands from both governments that each were unlikely to make concessions on. "We are up against some issues on both sides which are difficult to resolve," she said at an Australia-China Business Council lunch in Melbourne on Friday. On the Chinese side, investment and movement of natural person issues would be difficult to resolve. China is demanding state-owned enterprises be treated on equal terms as private companies. It is also understood that a major state-owned enterprise, as well as Chinese mining and construction companies, are frustrated by Australia's labour laws, and want to be able to import cheaper Chinese workers en masse to work on their projects in Australia. Advertisement. Under Australia's current foreign investment screening regime, state-owned enterprises are subject to more onerous scrutiny than private companies. On the other hand, Australia is pushing for greater access in China for its agricultural and service markets, but Beijing is worried about the impact of unfettered Australian agricultural exports on its markets. "I constantly try and convince them that if all of Australia's exported agricultural produce went to China, it would only be sufficient to feed the people of Shanghai," Ms. Adamson said. Similarly, "We do want better access to Australian service industries and they're not willing to grant that." Although Australia has been the largest single recipient of foreign investment, there is concern Canada and countries from Latin America and Africa are gaining ground and luring Chinese capital away. "I think we will need to become more welcoming and more competitive," Ms. Adamson said, while pointing out Australia had approved more than $80 billion worth of Chinese projects under the current Labour government. To be frank, other countries are also going to think about the sorts of issues that are generating public debate in Australia. With China undergoing a landmark leadership transition in Beijing this week, much attention has been given to strong comments from outgoing President Hu Jintao targeting corruption within the ruling Communist Party. Ms. Adamson said there were some promising signs of the situation improving in China, including increased levels of public debate about social issues at various levels of governmental and non-governmental institutions. "I see all of those things as positive," she said. "But I wouldn't want to overstate the extent to which they are likely to result in rapid change."